What's up? Friday night. Kiss just got finished playing in New York, their second final show. It's tomorrow night for me. Tonight for you guys, the East Coast is their final show, December 2nd, Madison Square Garden. And if I won the Mega Millions tonight, I will be flying to New York tomorrow morning and watching Kiss and their final show at the Garden. But if I don't win the Mega Millions, my friend who has let's just say a stream of the final show already in place, I'll watch it. No, I'll just pay for it. It's karma. I ain't no bootlegger. But I've never done a Friday night stream before, so I thought, we'll see how it goes. Last night's stream, which was pretty early in the AM, I think it was I was just up and couldn't sleep at 3 in the morning, so I thought, fuck it, I'll do a stream. And the numbers weren't great, to be honest with you. I'm still trying to figure out when and how many times I'm going to do these. Yesterday I did 2 streams, and then I don't know, I might take Saturday off, and then Sunday night, that's been my most popular stream, for me anyway, 37 people. I think I did about 7 PM my time, so, I'm still flipping around with the algorithms and just trying to figure out Charlie, hello. Just trying to see what works, what doesn't work. I'm not married to any times, so it's been fun though, and I appreciate you guys, the 3 of you right now, watching and listening. Rome was not built in a day, and the journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. We'll turn this. It looks a little bright for me. There we go. And we'll start talking a little Rampage. It's Friday night Rampage. It's only an hour show, so it's not that. I know I probably lose a lot of people talking AEW wrestling, but I enjoy it. I have some friends on it, so Rampage tonight started off with Dark Order, Angelo Parker, and Daddy Magic in the ring, waiting for their opponents in a big 8-man tag match. The 8-man tag opponents for them was Hook, Danhausen, Trent Beretta, and Orange Cassidy. A fun match, a lot of fun characters in this one. And I really enjoy Danhausen stealing Jake Hager's purple hat. That's been a fun side, whatever, to the Danhausen's return. I really thought Danhausen was going to be the devil. But Daddy Magic gets rolled up by Danhausen for the win. All good workers in this match. So, this is like AEW's, it's their B show, frankly. It's Dynamite, and I would almost even argue Collision is almost overtaken Dynamite. And that's tough because, when you look at the competition Collision has now in their time slot, you've got college football, hockey. When the NFL playoffs start in a month or so, they're going to have Saturday night games. So, I'm not exactly sure how the ratings are doing for Collision, but they put on very good cards. AJ, I do think I'm tough. I'll call you bluff. See, I know what you're doing there. And then we have an interview segment with Saraya, Ruby Soho, and Anna Jay. You know, I don't know. None of them are really great on the mic, but I do enjoy Angelo Parker and Ruby Soho's love angle in this. I don't know where it's leading to. This reeks of something that AEW will just bail on in a few weeks, but I hope not. I mean, I like Daddy Magic the most, but Angelo Parker, you could tell he's a very good wrestler and a good-looking dude, and I love whatever with Ruby Soho is. I could see them switching it though. We're at the last minute, Daddy Magic and Soraya kiss or something like that. Um, and then we have a interview segment with Sting and Ric Flair. Ric Flair doesn't look very good, man, but it was great to hear. And I know he's 74, but like he just looks like he's lived a hard 74 years. And I love Sting mentioning Lex Luger and Bam Bam Bigelow, Dusty Rhodes, Ricky Steamboat. Um, you know, Basically, this is a final plug or a plug for Sting's final match at Revolution on March 3rd in the Greensboro Coliseum. A lot of history there, to be honest with you. Um, it'll be interesting to see who Sting's final opponent is. There's a lot of ways you could go with that. You could have it be Ricky Steamboat. I mean, I don't know if I want to see two guys in their 60s wrestling, but if you were to pick two guys just for a 10-minute nostalgia match, it would probably be Sting and Ricky Steamboat. I don't know. I mean, I don't think Nikita Koloff really wrestles anymore. He's quite a bit smaller than he used to be. Or you could have it be a young guy. You could have Sting and maybe be a fun way to bring in Riddle in. You know, you know how much heat Riddle would get if he beat the shit out of Sting in his final match. See, that's what I think they should do. Like, obviously Sting's retiring. He will always be Sting. So you have him beat down in this final match. Because it's really serving to, prop up the next generation, the Zigglers, the Riddles, and I think, Riddle, because he was kind of jobbed out and made to look like a buffoon his last couple years in the WWE, like it'd be a great way to like pop his name up and that would trend on Twitter, trust me on that one. Like I think, and no one really believes me on this one, and it sounds crazy because he was a WCW guy, and I know in my heart never let a WCW guy be the one who beat the Undertaker, but how cool would it have been to see Sting beat the Undertaker's streak? And then you have the rematch where the Undertaker beats him. Like, you know how much heat Sting would have had, and how much merchandise he would have sold if he was the one who beat the streak. But what are you going to do? Renee Paquette next interviews Hikaru Shida, Chris Statlander, and Sky Blue backstage. I don't know. I just none of them really do it for me on the mic. But Sky Blue is definitely being pushed by um, Tony Khan. Someone like Sky Blue at AEW because she hasn't really shown me much. Uh, like Julia Hart is being pushed, but like she's like, okay, I see why she's being pushed. I'm not exactly sure why Sky Blue's getting this. She seems to be in all the angles and whatnot. So maybe they have something bigger in store for her. I'm not sure. And then the Don Callis family, the squash match, City Powerhouse Hobbs, Kyle Fletcher, and Konosuke Takeshita. Um, it was over pretty pretty fast, but I do like the 3 simultaneous moves at the end, their finishing moves. I don't know, I mean, it was a squash match, I mean, I understand why they do it, so you make those 3 guys look unstoppable. And then Callis cuts a promo on Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho. The Don Callis family basically is trying to rid AEW of the Golden Jets. So I'm not sure what's going on there. I mean, that storyline is a little long in the tooth. And then you have kind of a weird, but I do like it that AEW mentions what's going on in Japan. Prince Nana talks about the gates of agony are killing it in New Japan, and so it was kind of funny. He then has the Workhorseman tag with Brian Cage in a trios match on Rampage, saying it's an audition for them. And then you have the what's not the main event, but the co-main event: Hikaru Shida, Statlander, Sky Blue defeat Saraya, Ruby Soho, and Anna Jay. Uh, Good match. Um, you could tell they're building towards something happening between Saraya and Ruby Soho and Anna Jay. Um, and we get a commercial for Collision tomorrow night. And then the main event was kind of a fun match. El Hijo del Vikingo Commander and Penta El Miedo defeat Brian Cage and the Workhorsemen. Um, the match was a little sloppy at times. Cage is I really like Brian Cage. He's a very good worker. Um, and then, like expected, I knew when Cage was with the Workhorsemen, they were going to lose. But a fun match. Like I said, a little sloppy in the middle. Some semi botched moves, which is almost to be expected with, Cage is such a giant and he's pretty nimble for a guy his size, but, um, the other 3 are like wild, luchadors. So, it might not be the best fit stylistically for Cage to go in there with, 3 guys so fucking much faster than he is. But, it served its purpose. Cage didn't really look weak. I mean, the Workhorsemen did their job. I mean, I like JD Drake. He's like the Iron Mike Sharp of AEW. Like Iron Mike Sharp in the WWF days, he was a good wrestler. But it was a quick Rampage. You know, I think it was good because what I like about this one was it kind of continued the storylines. Especially with the women. They're definitely building, I think, something between Ruby Soho and Soraya. I mean, Anna Jay is probably the least important person in that, um, trios. And then, Hikaru Shida, I feel bad. I just don't, I'm just not feeling her, even though she got a pretty short run as champ. I almost would have liked to seen it be longer just so I can maybe get invested in her. What up, Chicano dude? And then Statlander, I don't know. Like I know she was the last person to beat Jade Cargill on the way out, but um, I don't know. It's just something that I don't quite. I don't know. I'm not feeling it with her. And then you know how I feel about Sky Blue. I mean, the Don Callis segment with the family. I mean, it was good. I understand the purpose. A squash match. It does make them look good. I don't know, however, it's like this is what's tough for me when the real storylines. Don Callis and Kenny Omega are like best friends in real life. Him, Jericho, and Omega are all from Winnipeg, so it's just tough to believe that now they're sworn enemies. I think in that one promo, Callis cut, and it was I think it was in Japan. Like, and this is why the internet's so wacky. Someone took a picture of the promo Callis was cutting, and I think he was really going hard on Omega, and Omega was holding the camera for Callis. So that's why I liked wrestling in the 80s. You know, everything was a work, but you didn't know it. There was also no internet, so you really like I've done this joke 1,000 times, but you really thought Kamala was from Uganda and Abdullah the Butcher was from the Sudan. So, speaking of Abdullah the Butcher, he was a participant in World Class Championship Wrestling, managed by the great Gary Hart, my brother. The Iron Claw movie coming out, I believe, December 23rd. So I can't wait to see that. Although I'm a little disappointed. I have a few friends who were in the movie, and I'm a stickler for detail, and uh, they're bringing back a lot of old characters. There's a Gary Hart, my friend Ryan Nemeth, the Hollywood hunk. He's playing Gino Hernandez, and but Kamala had some great feuds with Kerry Von Erich. And I'm not saying I wanted it to be the feature point of the movie because that's not the point of Iron Claw, but you know, I do think that Kamala should have been in there. He was a major part of world class championship wrestling. I believe he peaked when he was in Devastation Incorporated. Um, but I think I've seen the commercial online for it. There does seem to be a match involving the Freebirds. Uh, so that'll be fun. It'll be fun to see how much the wrestlers look like, who they're portraying, because this isn't WWE or, this is like old school wrestling, world class championship wrestling. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see how uh, much the actors look like. Zac Efron, he's a great actor, man. I know he gets a lot of shit for being a Disney guy, but like he was really good in the Ted Bundy movie. And I think who's Hoyt McElhaney? Let me see who's in the Iron Claw. I think Hoyt is playing the big Daddy Von Erich. So and he looks just like him too. You got Zac Efron has Kevin Von Erich. You've got Jeremy Allen White from Hulu's The Bear has Kerry Von Erich. What's up, creepy me? You got MJF has Lance Von Erich. Lily James has Pam Atkinson. I don't know um, exactly who she is. Harris Dickinson is David Von Erich. Yes, Holt McCallany has Fritz Von Erich. Aaron Dean Eisenberg has Ric Flair, and he doesn't look anything like Ric Flair, so that'll be interesting to see how he transforms into Ric Flair. But it's Hollywood. Let me see who else is in this. Cassie Louis Saragino as Bruiser Brody. Chavo Guerrero Jr. has the Sheik. Ryan Nemeth is Gino Hernandez, and I'm sure that they're. Let's go on IMDb and see the deep dive they do into, because it's really not about their actual matches, but like I am curious to see who played the Freebirds. So let's go on IMDb and check this out. Sorry, I'm a one man off, so I don't have a producer over there or over there or over there. You're looking at the producer. So let's see who else. What other wrestlers are portrayed in it? Kevin Anton as Harley Race. Interesting. Brady Pierce is Michael Hayes. Michael Proctor and Silas Mason and Devin Imbraguglio. They are the fabulous Freebirds. Um, let me see. I don't see pro wrestlers um, being portrayed here. Yeah, it seems like it's probably really not a lot of I could imagine them doing, well, you kind of are. I mean, you're my number one, you're not a producer, William, you are more of a confidant, a consultant of sorts. So, we got some kid playing young Kevin and another kid, young David. So I mean, it seems like a pretty good cast. Not a lot of big names, but I don't think you necessarily need big names. This is more. Let me see what the guy who plays Harley Race looks like. He's got to be a real looker. He does look like Harley Race, Kevin Anton. It's not necessarily a compliment, but I really wanted to play Gary Hart. Man, I'm disappointed I wasn't consulted on that. And then a lot of let's see who the producer is. Do I know any of these people? Maxwell Friedman is a producer on this. Wow, that might be one of those things like Jim Carrey was a producer, and I'm dying to hear. But to be honest with you, he really wasn't around a lot, um, at least that I saw. I'm just trying to go over the credits here. Nothing really stands out to me in the credits. Stunts. I'm sure there's a lot of stunts. Stunt wrestler. Yeah, I mean, see if I recognize any of the stunt wrestlers. Oh, well, Chavo Guerrero, of course he would be in there. Ryan Nemeth, he's actually a very good wrestler. Marshall and Ross Von Erich as additional wrestlers. I saw the Von Erichs wrestle the Briscoes at Ric Flair's last match. Who is Terry Gordy? It doesn't say who. It just lists three guys' names. It's the Freebirds. So that's why I'm interested, William. Like Terry Gordy was a pretty interesting looking guy, so I'm not really sure how many actors look like Terry Gordy. Um, but you could always fake it, I guess. Um, I mean, like the guy who's playing Ric Flair. If you look up his picture, what is his name? Let me see here. Let me see who. Let me see who plays Ric Flair. I just saw it. Sorry, Aaron Dean Eisenberg. I mean, I'm going to go on his. I mean, he looks nothing like Ric Flair, but you could see him and he'll be all right. Yeah, I mean, Page, you could kind of, but he was an inter. I mean, you could put wigs on and stuff. I mean, they were all kind of big dudes, and then who was the other Freebird? The blonde guy. I'm drawing a blank. Um, I am not going on tonight. I am the night off. I'll probably work out, as a matter of fact, after this. Um, I watched a Death Wish 3. I don't mind being alone on a Friday night because I'm not lonely. I don't mind it. I'm out every night. I'm a social butterfly. So every now and then, a night to myself, playing video games, doing a stream. And of course, I'm not alone right now. I have five of my buddies in here, Earl of Maniacs, Buddy Roberts. Yeah, I'm sorry. Uh, because back then they didn't really say their names that much. It was just the Freebirds, and of course Michael Hayes really stood out. And then they would say Terry Gordy, but Buddy Roberts was kind of like he was like the Arn Anderson of the Freebirds or Tully Blanchard. He was the least. He was like the guy who did all the dirty work. Yeah, Jimmy Garvin. I mean, I didn't see his name in the credits, so there's so many great. I mean, let me go on World Class Championship Wrestling alumni. But I'm really kind of shocked they didn't have Kamala in the movie because he was one. He was in a great feud with Kerry Von Erich, and this is when Kamala was not a cartoon character. So, all right, I went into some. Let me see. This ain't helping me. This is just World Class Championship. I mean, a lot of people they list. Let's get to the name. There's got to be a page that lists uh, Jimmy Jam Garvin. Let's see. Gary Hart. Well, of course, Gary Hart. Um, Buddy Roberts, Iceman King Parsons, who I loved. The gentleman Chris Adams, who was renowned for his drinking. Let me see. Let's see here. Bruiser Brody, obviously. The Ultimate Warrior was the Dingo Warrior, and then like his. Um, so you had Kamala, the Missing Link, um, Brian Adias, King, Iceman King Parsons. You also had David Manning, my buddy from the Ric Flair roast. Was I think he was a referee. Junkyard Dog, Bronco Lubitsch, Johnny Mantel. Um, there's really this name Butch Reed, um, the Outlaw Butch Reed. So I mean, they had like a lot of names. I mean, I think a lot of names that um, you would. Jake Roberts, was in world class championship wrestling. Mike Von Erich, he's like the forgotten Von Erich brother. I mean, they used to sell out the fucking Cotton Bowl, the natural Butch Reed. I thought it was the outlaw Butch Reed, but Tully Blanchard, Brutus Beefcake would pop in for a second. Let me see. And then, I mean, a lot of the great Kabuki, of course. So, I mean, they had a lot of. They even did. I mean, and the funny thing, they were huge in Israel, so they would go over there. But Chris Adams had to be snuck out of the country because he beat the shit out of a bartender. And that's something Israel, they don't fuck around over there. So they had to like sneak him out on an El Al flight. And El Al, it's like the top security airlines in the world. I mean, they've never had a hijacking because you have to pass apparently if you fly to, I guess, Israel on El Al. You have to pass like 5 or 6 checkpoints where they interview you. They grill you. So Rick Rude was in World Class Championship Wrestling. One Man Gang later, who became Akeem. My brother. That's why. I mean, I would have thought Rick Rude could have gotten in this movie. Percy Pringle, of course. Blackjack Mulligan. Um, so I mean, I do think that. But I'm sure they're focusing on the tragedies of this family. I mean, it is insane that 4 of the 5 brothers are dead. Um, and then, there's so many, I'm just trying to look at some more alumni, it's, Jack Victory, but, this is also, a very competitive time. You had NWA, you had other competing UWF. Obviously WWF was sniffing around. They probably saw the Dingo Warrior, like this guy's a fucking star. Um, because he had the look. Uh, I want to say I saw Tony Atlas, but maybe I'm confusing him with Terry Taylor. Speaking of WWF, he was in there. AWA too. You had so it was a fascinating time. And then you had, of course, one of the great heel managers of all time, Skandor Akbar. I believe he started managing Kamal at some point. Brickhouse Brown. I mean, some great, great names. I'm just on the Wikipedia page, and then you had the United States Wrestling Association. I mean, just a lot of good times. No, it was a last minute decision. I thought, I better, there's a good Rampage tonight. I thought I'm trying to, I thought Friday night, a lot of people are out, so you know, Numbers probably won't be great, but I'm just, I'm literally hitting all time slots, and the only one that I've done that's like really hit for me anyway is Sunday nights. So that will absolutely be um, a regular thing, unless I have a stand up gig or something. I've heard a lot of Cornette stories. That sounds familiar, but yeah, I figured, but I don't know if a lot of people who are, like I had a few friends of mine who went to see Kiss tonight at the Garden. I don't know if they're going to want to come home and listen to a live stream about Rampage. Uh, but I always start with wrestling, and then we go where we go. Well, thank you for tuning in, William. So that's really this chat is really the chat about everything and nothing at the same time. So I'm trying to think, and then we get into the '90s. Let's see who. Wow, John Tatum. I haven't heard that name in a very long time. Steve Austin. Oh wow, that's crazy. John Tatum was big before he got into World Class Championship Wrestling. Um, he had a nickname, Cowboy John Tatum or something. Because I think I saw him as a child um, in at the Olympic Auditorium. He was a big deal back then. All right, here's some more names. Sorry, Abdullah the Butcher, Andre the Giant, Bam Bam Bigelow, Billy Jack Haynes, um, Bobby Eaton. Let's see, Beefcake. I don't recall, but Playboy Buddy Rose. I always liked him. He was kind of like a fat Ric Flair. Big John Studd. Let me see. Chavo Guerrero, obviously. Trying to pick out the good names. The Big Cat Ernie Ladd, but he was kind of older when he was there, so it was a little rough for him. Um, Jeff Jarrett. It's crazy how long Jeff Jarrett's been around. I mean, that's like nuts to me. Jim Cornette, Jim Powers, gorgeous Jimmy Garvin, Superfly Snuka, Jimmy Jack Funk. I remember him. He was quite entertaining. Um, Let me see. Kevin Sullivan, Devastation Incorporated, of course. Coco Beware. And I bet you the WWE saw him here and hey, let's get this guy. Let's get the black guy with the parakeet. Who else? Missy Hyatt. I mean, man, she was hot. Neil Moskos, the man of a thousand masks. Let's see. Ric Flair, Rick Rude. I mean, it's really like Shawn Michaels. I don't remember him in World Class, but I wasn't watching every episode. Stan Hansen, Stan Stasiak, father of Sean Stasiak, the great Dr. Death, Stephen Williams, Ted Arcidi, world's most powerful man at the time, Terry Funk, rest in peace. He's recent. Yeah, Tony Atlas was in World Class. Wahoo McDaniel as well. So, and of course, we can't forget Mark Lawrence. He was the great um, announcer and the referees. David Manning, of course, my friend from the Ric Flair roast. He was funny on the Ric Flair roast because he was running the light and he was just like, he turns around and goes, I don't give a fuck. And that guy, uh, the great Andrew Goldstein, was like having a panic attack because he was, it was a TV. Like we had a hard out for the pay per view. So I think Bischoff's time actually got cut because David Manning, he went long, as they say in the business. David Manning did a Leslie Jones. Yeah, I mean, because I used to sit next to her at King Games when she was dating Jason Hervey, and I think she hadn't quite done all the plastic surgery yet. I mean, maybe the tits, but yeah, it was, like now, it's pretty rough, to be honest with you. Um, and I've never seen a girl or guy, to be honest with you, who's done plastic surgery that's looked better. Like, look at, Jenna Jameson. I mean, Jenna Jameson was beautiful before she, like, did all that stuff, and, like, now she looks like Bret Michaels. What up, cool boy? I'm just chilling. We're just talking a little AEW, Iron Claw, the movie, some more pro wrestling crosstalk, but we can, get into anything you guys want in chat. Um, it's an open forum. We just try and no doxing in here. Save that for the dabble world. Um, but just Friday night didn't have a spot tonight at the comedy store, so I mean, yeah, but I mean, she's beautiful. I actually sent her a message on Instagram saying, "Hey, come to the comedy store anytime." Um, but I think something about her boobs looks. I mean, listen, don't get me wrong. If she knocked on my door right now, the stream would be over. But they're a little fake looking for me. But yeah, I mean, but I could tell like she works out and stuff. Like, I don't I mean, obviously, I don't know, I'm guessing. I don't think Jenna Jameson was a workout freak. She was just a young girl who, just looked good naturally. I mean, there are some people who just look good naturally. Like, William, you've heard this, but my black buddy Albert from the gym many, many years ago, he had the best body I've ever seen on a man. Never worked out, not even once. He just had genetics. My brother, Andrew, he is or was he doesn't work out anymore. He surfs, but he is gifted with just being naturally strong. No steroids, no nothing. Like he hasn't worked out in a gym in probably 20 years. He could walk into any gym right now and probably bench press 315 like it was nothing. Um, yeah, well, it's a brutal business in the world of porn. It's. I was just talking about this with someone I think yesterday at the store or Wednesday. I had a spot there Wednesday where you know, it's so competitive that you are literally like a bottle of milk to the porn industry, and the minute you expire, at least in their eyes, you're replaced with a fresh bottle. Because in their minds, who wants to jack off to the same girl? Um, Yeah, it's like tattoos. Like, I don't know anyone who just my one friend, I won't blow their name up. They might even be listening on the DL. Uh, he's like the most straight-laced guy you've ever met. He's a weed guy, but and like pale white, antisocial, but he has got addicted to tattoos. Like he never had anything. And within the past, I think 3 months, he's gotten like seven. He's got the fix. And he's not even a biker or anything. Yeah, I mean, you get addicted. Yeah, there's Meg Ryan. There's what's the girl from Jerry Maguire? Renee Zellweger. I mean, like, I don't have a type per se, but Renee Zellweger, like when she was untouched, wow. I mean, just like the perfect level of cute. Not like model pretty, but now it's like she looks like Jerry O'Connell. Um, yeah, but that's the same. It can be, like I probably work out too much. Like I've worked out something like 15 straight days, and I'm gonna work out after this stream just because it makes me feel better. It's not like if I worked out, it's not like if I didn't work out tomorrow, I'm gonna be fat. But in my brain, that's how it feels. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Renee Zellweger, like man, she used to be so cute. She was like that Jenny Wright, like not like a supermodel, but like so cute and naturally pretty. But I get it. Like, she probably I guarantee you she started probably getting a little older, and in Hollywood, old for a woman is 30. Um, and she probably lost her role out to someone 2 years younger than her, and that's when it starts, that you need the Botox, you need the fillers, the injections, and then you look worse, and then you still don't get booked because you look like a fucking Creature of the Black Lagoon relative. Who else did Ally Walker, the girl from, if you look at Ally Walker from The Profiler, Robert Davi's show, to Universal Soldier, to how she looked on Sons of Anarchy, like, my god. I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, she looked like the creature of the Black Lagoon. The lips are like and the cheekbones are like stretched out, and it's like, holy god. I like Profile. That was kind of a hidden gem show. I mean, it was on the air for a while. It's kind of like Pretender, like Pretender was on like 6, 7 seasons, but you never really hear anyone talk about it. Um, yeah, Gillian Anderson looks completely different. Uh, Pam Anderson looks completely different. Yeah, I really like The Pretender. Um, and that's like, I mean, the last thing I saw the guy in, what was that guy's name? The lead actor, and I mean, I'm trying not to look it up. Uh, Jeremy something. Hold on, I'm gonna look it up. Fuck it. Um, Michael T. Weiss. Uh, he hasn't. Thank you, William. I didn't want to look it up, and I didn't. I was literally hitting the Pretender, um, and my sister lived next to the older guy, in Patrick, the older guy in the Pretender, like the main older bad guy trying to find him. Um, but Michael T. Weiss kind of dropped off the grid. I mean, the last time I saw him was on a couple episodes of Blue Bloods. But he's also in this gay movie. Even if you're not gay, this movie is so funny to me, called Jeffrey, where it's about the guy from Wings, Steven Weber. He's trying to find love, and it's so funny. Like but maybe it's only funny to me because I live in West Hollywood, so I get all the singers and the one-liners. Yeah, the guy from Jag. Look at not Max Headroom. Lee Horsley from what's that? Don't tell me, William. Don't tell Lee Horsley. What was that? Matt Houston. The guy was everywhere in the '80s and then just disappeared. It's such a weird business to me. I brought him up the other night. Elon Mitchell Smith. Was it Weird Science, The Chocolate War, a couple other things, The Wildlife, and I think he just quit the business and he teaches school in Austin. This is weird to me how you could be in like a couple big movies, TV shows, and then you just quit. Look at the girl from Can't Buy Me Love who tragically died from drugs, Amanda Peterson. Like, my God, that is an Earl girl. Like, man, like if you want to know, like, I mean, Amanda Peterson, and she was also in that movie with Roy Scheider and I think Tim Quill. Something about and Moira Kelly, Harvard debate team, something. I'm drawing a blank, but and then she just got fucked up on drugs and quit the business and died in like her apartment in Colorado. I mean, look at Amanda Peterson in Can't Buy Me Love. Like, wow. I mean, I mean, um, just like so sad. I mean, this business is tough, man. Wasn't Amanda? I don't think so, but I don't know her full story. Even though I am good comedy friends with Court McCowan, who is a Comedy Store paid regular. He was in Can't Buy Me Love. Has Quint, he was like the dick in the movie until the end. I mean, she got pretty messed up on drugs, and such a bright future. And then, but I'm sure she, but I have no idea if this is true or not. But I'm sure it was the casting couch, and after a year or two of no work, some producer probably hit on her, said, "Fuck me, I'll make you a star," and just drove her into like depression and quit the business. I mean, very much like Jenny Wright. I mean, you can't get any more talented of an actress than Jenny Wright. I mean, she should still be acting, as a mom or the hot mom or whatever. Like getting the roles. There's a Stifler's mom, the girl from White Lotus. Like Jenny Wright could have been doing that. So this town is like it's twisted sister out here, man. Like so many scumbags and Like, I see it a lot in comedy, see it a lot with, like, younger females, and younger males too, it's just, the beginning's fun, and then, it's a lot of luck, a lot of palm pressing, who you know, whose ass you kiss, who you don't piss off, um, and, it just yeah, I mean, it's a lot of everything. Talent is the least important part. There's so many unfunny people on television, but they know the right people. And I'm not trying to, I'm not bitter about the business. It's just the reality of, yeah, I mean, Heather Locklear, she got caught up in the lifestyle. I mean, when you're married to Tommy Lee, like, I can only imagine the rabbit hole that makes you go under, and you probably never get out. But like Michael T. Weiss, let me see what Michael T. Weiss is up to these days. Like, I thought he was a star. Let's see. Let's go on his IMDb. Well, let's go on Wikipedia. Even though that's not okay. The last film he did was 2017, Sunset Park, and then before that, 2010, he was the handsome man at the wedding in Sex and the City too. Let's see. The last television he did was Young Justice, 2013, theater, 2011, video games. So he's basically out of the business. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, isn't that crazy? Like, he hasn't worked, and then let me see what year that Blue Bloods. Blue Bloods, he was in 2011. I mean, that's crazy that like the last TV and movie stuff he did was like 10 years ago. But that's, and let me see, when he was at his peak, The Pretender was 96 to 2000. See what movies he was in from 96 to 2000. He never really did like huge movies, although he was in Tarzan and Jane. Has Tarzan. Let me see who else was in this. Michael T. Weiss is Tarzan. Olivia d'Abo is Jane. And then the rest of the cast, pretty bad, to be honest with you. Let's see where it is on Rotten Tomatoes. 17%. That's not good. Um, the Carmen Electra was very funny back in the day. Looked as a gas man. Carmen Electra, am I crazy? Carmen Electra was very funny back in the day. Looked as a gas been. Uh, I'm not. Yeah, I don't know what that. Oh, has been. I'm sorry. I was like, what? Um, you still bang Carmen Electra. Well, here's the funny thing: is about maybe 10 years ago. I might be off, but it was whenever she was dating Dennis Rodman. I go to no, maybe it was when I bought this condo. It might have been 20 years ago. Um, so I'm looking at condos all over the city, and this real estate agent. I got the perfect one for you. It's in Beverly Hills, but it's not too much money. It's like a home. It's like a town home, but it's more a home than a condo. So we start off in the bedroom, and there's all these pictures of Dennis Rodman. I'm like, oh, it's just a fan. Like if you go in my bedroom, there's pictures of hockey player framed jerseys. You probably like, who the hell lives up here? You certainly wouldn't think, oh, it's an unknown stand-up comic. Hello. So we go downstairs, and it's like one of those winding stairwells, and there's like naked pictures of Dennis Rod, not completely naked, but like pretty risque pictures of Dennis Rodman. And then we get into the kitchen, and the TV's on in the like I guess what would be considered the living room, and there's Carmen Electra in t-shirt and underwear. She just looked over at me and she said, "Hey," I'm like, "How are you?" Like she was pretty hot, and you could tell she just woke up, no makeup, and like Everyone in chat's shorts would be off their bodies in about 10 seconds. Dennis Rodman Dennis Rodman sat in my lap, at roast battle one night. I think I called him, I said, "Hey, it's an honor to meet you. I've always wanted to meet Bob McAdoo." And he got up and I thought he was, like, pissed, and he comes over to me. This is when he was sitting where the VIPs are, which, toward the end of that show. Woo! And then he comes over. I was getting ready to hit him because, like, he's an intimidating looking guy back then. And he's like, "I love you, man." And then he sat in my lap, and I couldn't feel my legs because he's a big guy, man. Um, yeah, I mean, Carmen was cool. I mean, what a life, knowing that every guy on the planet wants to fuck you. Like, uh, I don't know. I mean, whenever she was dating Rodman, Williams says 20 years ago. Yeah, I have lived an interesting life. Uh, he was kidding around like he was mad that I called him Bob McAdoo. Two for two. And this is when roast battle was fun, and nobody was trying to get on TV, so it was just a free for all up there. It was like the best 2 hours of my life were those Tuesday nights. Um, and then the show became what it became, which was just, I mean, now it's like it's embarrassing. I mean, the main events now are like, yeah, I mean, she did seem to be like a cool, like if me and Carmen Electra were dating, she seems like the type that would have flown me to New York for Kiss's final show because she's got her own money, so that's always attractive. Um, so like I got the feeling this condo was more hers than his. She probably bought it, but I mean, no offense to Dennis Rodman, but he doesn't really strike me as someone who's good with his money. Um, but he's still around. But he's the type that's probably just turned into a world class freeloader. I know Robert William Eppervaya died last year, buddy. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news. Yeah, I don't really involve myself in the roast world anymore. I mean, the last thing I've done roast related was the Ric Flair roast, and then before that was the Shane Doan roast. Because I think roasting's better when it's in person. You know, like when you have to have the balls to say something to someone who's 7 feet to your left. It's better that way. Because like I could roast, say you and me, cool boy. We're roasting right now, and you say your line, I say my line, but it's not really. I'm not scared. You're not scared because you're alone. I mean, I'm alone in the living room. I don't know. I'm not sure where you are right now, but it's just different energy when you're on stage together. It's much more real. So yeah, he died sadly. Yeah, I mean, Dennis Rodman's probably turned into just a world class mooch. You know, yeah, yeah. I mean, when you see celebrity versions of Big Brother or Survivor, it's like you know how many people they called to do that show, and then this is like who answered. What up, Pooh? Anytime I can see you on, I will give you or show a thumbs up. Thank you, Saint Ranger. Uh, oh no, it's all good. Thank you. I mean, you can ask me. That's what these live streams are for. Is I'm this is more a stream. It's a stream of consciousness. I start talking about wrestling because that's a good thing to get the ball rolling, and then once that is over, we can break off into crosstalk, and it's a pretty positive stream. We don't do any of the Dabbleverse stuff because there's already people who are more interested and invested in Stuttering John and all that stuff. It's zero interest in me. And I'm friends with everyone, friends with Shuli, I'm friends with Kevin, I'm friends with Chad, I'm friends with, Bob Levy, so I don't, I just don't. It's just a drag if you're not really in that world to like, and Melton, I'm friends with Melton, so I don't really, like I did, what was it, the Miserable Men show a few times with Mike Morris, Levy, and Shuli, and I think after the last one, I told Shuli, dude, I just got nothing more on Stuttering John. I'm gonna bail out, but I appreciate, I get along very well with Shuli. So, um, what did Flair say about Khan and then apologize? No, that was Bray Wyatt. When Bray Wyatt left, I said, "Hey, man, am I going to see you in AEW one day?" And he said, uh, "Not if Tony Khan's there." And he was laughing, but like, so I didn't want to, he was leaving. Yeah, I mean, I just want people to have fun, and this is, I think, a good way for me to try and build a following. Um, I'm a little late. Oh, I don't know. I didn't know what you were talking about. I didn't see that, William. Um, because a lot I get the number one question I get asked is why don't you do the road more? It's like, well, clubs will only book you if they know they can fill the seats. So right now, I'm not exactly a known commodity, but anything can happen. Matt Rife a couple years ago was literally only doing shows at the Laugh Factory. It was the only place that would book him. Now he can play any theater he wants because he got a couple videos viral. And I mean, I think it's hard for streams to go viral unless I said something really stupid. But it's I like doing it. I've definitely gotten more subscribers. I think about 6 weeks ago I had 1,500, and now I have close to 2,100. So that's a pretty good increase. Wait, hold on, I'm getting lost here. I have not had time to watch Hannibal to hear it. Oh, Hannibal. Oh, yeah, I like Hannibal. He's good. Um, well, if you're handsome or if you're pretty, like you're not going to have much problems getting laid, and that's really an ugly comics act. 90% of it, anyway, is talking about how you don't get any pussy or weenie. Um, but if you're like, Matt Rife is going to have a hard time in the future convincing the audience that he has trouble dating. I'm pretty sure he doesn't. Um, or Matt Broussard, but Matt Broussard's married, so or Lachlan Patterson. These are all like super good-looking comics. Like if I say I have trouble dating, it's somewhat believable. And if you know me, I've had more failed relationships than O.J. Simpson. Hello. Um, but I'm not like horrible looking, but I'm not like a model either. I don't think he has Botox. I mean, the lips are natural too. Just some guys are born like that. Some women are born like that. Was it who's the broad who was married to Brad? Angelina Jolie. Those are her real lips. Like, someone some people are just naturally I don't know, to be honest with you, Kev. I don't think he did. He's a young guy. So, but I don't know. Maybe he did. Um, but you know what? See, I don't know. Like, I know nothing about his surgeries or lack of, or you know, what he's done. I'm too busy in my own fucking crazy world. I don't have time. Well, I've got the time. I just don't have the energy to look up what Matt Rife's physical prowess. He does have a great body. I mean, I work out every day. I don't look like that. But he's also 30 years younger than me. So I am unfairly comparing myself to him. But good for him, I guess, like, hey, you enjoy your youth while you have it. I remember when I was playing hockey, when I first started playing hockey in '88 in this league, I was like 20 and I was talking shit, the fully testosteroned out Earl. And Ching Lee, what up? What up? And I was making fun of this older player, like, you fucking suck, old man, you arthritic bastard. And he just looks at me and goes, look at me real good, Earl, because that's going to be you one day. And of course, when you're 20, you don't think you're ever going to be, arthritic, but at 55, I definitely feel it. So, good evening, good evening. Yes, Miss Ching Lee, one of the Earl of Maniac. We got 13 people in there, so maybe, what time is it for me? 11:45. Maybe late night Fridays are, could be decent. Maybe I'll do one tomorrow night. Maybe I'll review Collision or something. But I also don't want to get burnt out doing this. I think that's also a problem you see in the dabble world is that most people do at least 6 days a week. And you can tell by the quality of the programming, it gets hard for them, because because especially in that world, you're talking about the same shit all the time. So, I'm playing with the algorithms. Uh, the next wrestling show that I'm going to be at. Well, I mean, in LA, you get PWG, which is Pro Wrestling Gorilla. You've got Global GCW, which the Sheik runs out of some convention hall in Torrance. Um, it wouldn't surprise me if there's something Sunday. I mean, I know XPW is due back here in probably a couple weeks, although they'll probably do like a Christmas show out here. Um, oh, see, I don't know. I'm trying to think of the one I went to some theater about a year ago. It was the main event was it might have been a PWG show. The main event was Daniel Garcia against Takeshita and Malachi Black and Brody King against I forget who they were wrestling, but it was really good. Uh, yeah, I liked XPW at the new venue, which was at some. It's kind of funny. It's at some new well, it's not a new hotel, but I think they lost their permit for the place in Pomona, the Derby, so they had to find a place in Van Nuys, which ironically enough is right across the street um, from their old offices. Yeah, I mean, it's really weird. Like, I mean, I'm assuming they made money because they're now a East Coast based company, so I don't imagine Rob Black is going to do this to lose money, but they like I walked in, there's no box office. You just walked in. I walked in backstage. Now nobody I mean everyone knows me, so I get to do what I want at XPW, but still it was a little like, oh, who's checking tickets? Um, but the funny thing, it was packed. I mean, it's definitely a smaller. It was in the basically like a conference room at this hotel, so I kind of liked it. You definitely felt the energy, and I don't think the hotel necessarily knew what XPW was about because when they were setting up the ring and putting down all the tarp for the blood and the glass, the guy looks at me, but someone who worked at the hotel, he's like, "Oh, what are they doing that for? Does it get messy?" I'm like, "Oh, you've never seen an XPW show?" He's like, "No, nobody here knows what it's about." I'm like, "Oh, I hope you have extra janitors tomorrow." I mean, it's a palate cleanser. I mean, if you're looking for WWE and AEW and Impact Wrestling, you're not going to get it at XPW. I tell people all the time, it's ECW with less planning and less budget. So, but it's very fun to watch. It's just a nice way for me to get away from the comedy grind for a few hours, and enjoy myself. So, well, that was the thing at when it was at the Derby in Pomona. Like they did have a box office, like in the parking lot, where you, I guess, if you wanted to pay, you could. But if you didn't want to, really, you could just walk through the sports book, and it was on the patio outside. You just walk out and take a seat. And I think the only guy checking tickets was a wrestler, so he didn't give a fuck. I mean, it's stupid. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what they thought, William, but I don't like. I could. I mean, I have no information, and I haven't heard the show or the venue has changed, but I could see that hotel going, that's a little too wild for us. Uh, yeah, yeah, you're right. Sorry about that. My bad, my bad. Yeah, but they would get kicked out. Like I'm known in XPW, so Rob Black loves me. Jasmine St. Clair. I mean, it's wild the things I see backstage at an XPW show. Complete madness. And but it's like family. Like you see, like Schlack, he doesn't know my name, but he always gives me a fist bump. Hey, what's up, man? Like it's a family vibe. My buddy the body. I mean, that kid's crazy. Oh, that's cool. Same manager. Uh I liked when the San Jose Sharks played at the Cow Palace and they had one of the great heavyweight enforcers of NHL history, albeit briefly, the missing link, Link Gates. He well, he got to start with the Minnesota North Stars and he got traded to the Sharks. And was actually a pretty good player, and then he got into a pretty bad motorcycle accident like Gary Busey, and it's been a steady decline since. I remember one time, probably maybe like 2010 or something, he called me. I don't know how he got my phone number. He's like, "Hey, is this Earl, the guy who collects my jerseys?" I'm like, "Who's this?" He's like, "This is Link Gates." Like, "Oh shit, man." And we talked for a while, and then it's like, "Yeah, man, I got a bunch of my jerseys I stole from teams who didn't pay me. Do you want them?" Like, "Yeah, man, how much you want for 'em?" He's like, fuck it, I'll just send them to you." Now, I couldn't imagine Link Gates being uh, smart enough to go to the post office and fill out a customs form, and because I think he was living in Vancouver at the time. And then he puts his mom on the phone with me, and she's like, "Earl, my son's just really misunderstood. Like everyone loves him. He's just misunderstood." And then the conversation ends, and then the next day he got kicked off the team he was on for starting a bench clearing brawl. And then he tried to fight the owner in the bar. Um, Rocky. Oh, that's funny. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, deathmatch wrestling back then it's a lot different than what it is now. It's just, I mean, my buddy the Body, that he's like 23 and like he's crazy, man. Like he puts hypodermic needles through his cheekbone. He put one through his dick. Like he'll do anything. Like if Rob Black said, "Set yourself on fire," he'd set himself on fire. Let me tell you a story, and then we'll wrap up the stream. Um, I don't know, man. There's a lot of loyal fans. William Zoom, Ross Incognito. Uh, pretty much anyone who's in chat right now is a loyal Earl Maniac. One time I'm backstage at the XPW in Pomona, and it's a typical violent night of entertainment. And the guy who plays the hillbilly character, the Earl Army. Hey, man, someone made a Skakel Army shirt for my first TV battle when I was on Roast Battle, and I didn't know. And if you watch my battle with Tom Ballard, I almost fuck up my first joke because I saw the Skakel Army shirt. And I just kind of was like looking at it, and then it was my turn, and I was like, Tom's gay and from Australia, so when he takes it in the ass, he feels it tomorrow. Hello. The great Tom Ballard. I really like him. So I'm at XPW in Pomona, and the guy who plays the hillbilly, he asked Rob Black if he could put like these ninja stars in his head, and even Rob Black was like, "I don't know about that, bro." And of course, the guy did it anyway, and he couldn't get them out. So I don't know. Maybe it's because I look like a strong guy or I know what I'm doing. Rob Black goes, "Can you try and get them out?" And I tried, and they were like impaled in his head. And then Rob Black goes, "Stop!" When I was trying to get them out, I'm like, "What's wrong?" He said, "Let's film this." Like that was his concern. Let's get this on film. And he finally got him out. I think Schlack or one of the other wrestlers, maybe it was Drake Sather. He got like a pair of pliers and just like popped him out. Um, oh, really? Peter Beater? Well, I mean, I can imagine what they. I mean, I was at probably the last 5 shows in Pomona. Um, Yeah, I mean, I think I would be a great guest on Rogan, but like I've said previous, you don't ask Joe. Now, fans of mine tweet out, he might do that, but like I can't say, "Hey, Joe, I'd like to." Um, I have a feeling I might be the reason you guys don't do the shows anymore there. So after that debacle, maybe. I mean, maybe, Kev. I mean, I'm not against it. Uh, But after that debacle, so the main event is I think it was Schlack against Masada, and, you know, I think there's a women's match right before it, so I'm watching it in the gorilla position with all the monitors, and my buddy The Body comes up to me and goes, "Hey, man, can you go to 7-Eleven?" I'm like, "For what?" He's like, "We didn't get the lighter fluid, man." And, I know friends of mine who are stuntmen and done fire scenes. I'm like, "Yeah, but bro, I don't think you can really, get the kinda lighter fluid because it was for Masada, he was gonna do, like, the Gene Simmons thing, and I'm like, "I don't think you should get lighter fluid from 7-Eleven, it's not what the stuntmen do," and, like, Rob Black kinda looked at me and says, "Ah, fuck it, just get what you can get." So I go to 7-Eleven, which if you're familiar with where, the Derby is in Pomona, it's down the road about a mile. So I go in there and, like, "Hey, you guys have any lighter fluid?" And the guy looks at me and goes, "For what?" I'm like, "Oh, it's for the wrestling show down the street." He's like, "For XPW?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "I'm not selling you that." He didn't want any liability. But then the guy was cool. I'm like, "Hey man, I don't work for them. I'm just a fan. They sent me here. Like, do you have any ideas?" He's like, "The guy at the liquor store will sell it to you." So I go over to the liquor store across the street, and the guy sells me Zippo fluid. Um, and so I go back. The main event's about to start. I show it to Schlack, and he's getting ready, and like he's an intimidating looking dude. Very nice, but still, he's an intimidating man. So I say, "Hey man, do you think this is all right? This is from Masada's stunt." And he looks at me and goes, he just kind of shrugs his shoulder and is like, "Yeah, I guess." And then I show it to Rob Black, and he's like, "Yeah, fuck it, that'll do." So the match, if you were there, you know what happened. Masada, like the first two fire bombs, they worked. But then I think the problem was it kind of dripped into his beard, and then the third one like got into his beard, and like he cut probably from his from his nipples to his face. The forehead was on fire, and I don't think they had like a fire extinguisher. And the producer, uh, I am to be honest with you, Gav. The producer's like, "We gotta stop the show. We gotta stop the show." And Rob Black looks at me and goes, "Ah, fuck it, he'll be fine." And then his girlfriend or his wife, I'm not sure if Masada's married or she was pissed. I told him not to do the fucking fire stunt. And I'm gonna yell at him, that son of a bitch. And she's standing right where behind the curtain. So, I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be weird because she's gonna be in shock. She's gonna be yelling at him like, we might see a domestic violence as the final tag match. And he walks back and he was fine. Like, and she was crying and like, there's really not a lot of medical staff backstage at XPW, so you know, but he's back in wrestling, and XPW is back. I highly recommend going to the shows. It's entertaining. It's an escape. And Rob Black really works the crowd, and then I do miss Chris Kloss on announcing. They don't. I guess he had a falling out with Rob Black, and I definitely miss when it was Chris Kloss and Larry Rivera. But the announcer they have now is you could tell he's announced wrestling for a while. I don't know what DV is, to be honest with you. Well, it wasn't my fault. Yeah, yeah. I Chico, and like him and Chris Kloss just had a great um, chemistry, and of course, Angel, the hardcore homo. I've always been a fan of. I always take a picture with him every time I see him. He was in a great match with the Body. Him and the Body were a tag team against two females. It was a good match. Well, I thought, she was upset. Obviously, her loved one is on fire, and then, but I thought, he's going to be in a little bit of shock. But when he walked back, he was very calm, and yeah, yeah. What's her name? Kat Martini, and Luda Dark's very good. Like, and it was interesting backstage seeing them go over the match. Um, yeah, I mean that's old school Sam Ranger. The Crippler, Ray Stevens. Well, I mean, he was, I think the beard, I think it got into his beard, and then that was the problem, and the sweat, and whatever else. Like it was, incredibly flammable. So, but he survived, and like I said, XPW is definitely not for everybody. I've taken a few people to it. They were like, never again. Um, and so I now go alone. And, but I do like it at the new location. Not that I didn't like Pomona, but there's a great food truck right outside, and a 7-Eleven where I can get my energy drinks. Uh, yeah, I mean, that's back in the day when, Kenji Shibuya, uh, you know, I like New Japan now. You've got Kenta, you've got Will Ospreay, you've got Takeshita, you've got so many great. Well, I don't know. Yeah, the turkey burger at Pomona was good. The vegetables were good. Just that crowd in the sports book is so scummy. It's just like, what a crowd. You've got degenerate gamblers on the inside and like deathmatch wrestling fans on the outside. I mean, it was like very, I mean, I always had a good time because I could, walk around everywhere. But like the mixing of probably two groups of people that are just, as MJF would call them, the pores. Um, did I attend the last show we had at the Glass? No, the last wrestling shows, it was the last XPW shows were at the last few at the Derby, and then the one they had in Van Nuys. Liam Neeson just cranks them out, man. Like, I saw some movie the other day I'd never seen before. It was like an action movie about ice road truckers or something. I mean, he really, like, he just, I don't know if he needs money, but he doesn't seem to say no to too many flicks. But, who am I to say what he should do? I think he's doing okay for himself. So, all right, guys, I'm going to work out now at 12:03 on a Saturday morning. I do appreciate you guys. Oh, that's funny. Saint Ranger. I know the name. I'm not very familiar with him. Um, yeah, I mean, he probably just wants to stay busy, and I get that. I mean, he can't. No, I'm just working out at my home. I have an elliptical right over there. I take my iPad and I watch 80s metal videos and hockey fights for an hour, and then before you know it, it's over. And yeah, that was a sad one when she died, but I guess it's part of life. But I love you all, Earl Skakel. I'll probably do a stream tomorrow at some point. I'm just gonna test maybe a little earlier in the afternoon, maybe college football. People are gambling and just want to keep your eyes on the TV, but listening to a stream. And then Sunday night for sure. So I appreciate all the support as always. If you follow me on Twitter, maybe retweet the link helps. And I can promise you, when I get to the super chat level, I will never ask you guys for money. I won't beg for money. I won't ask for a donation. If you want to give me money, it's not a donation. It's a thank you for services rendered in the past. That is all. Cool Boy, thank you. Ching Lee, thank you. Rebel, Uncanny, William Zoom. I don't think we had any women in the house tonight, but I thank you all. Earl Skakel, over and out.